Toronto Maple Leafs lose 2-1 in regulation to the Ottawa Senators in what was a very low event game, a very weird game. We're going to break down a couple of the goals. The Leafs need some offensive help too. And obviously, the last goal against the Ottawa Senators scored. We're going to break it down. I'm already seeing it in the chat. Welcome in, everybody. 33 of you in here. I'll address it off the top. Nick, obviously, not here tonight, but he sends his regards. He'll be back in the next stream and back for a video tomorrow as well. He's traveling right now, as you mentioned in one of our videos. So shout out to Nick, and he'll be back in the next video. And obviously, the next stream will be back rolling as the Leafs get back to it next week. But again, I was hoping to win this game. I was hoping that they were going to beat the Ottawa Senators. Senators, desperate team right now. I'm not overly disappointed about the loss because, again, Senators desperate team right now. They're in the playoff mix. They're actually playing up to their potential that a lot of people thought that they would have right now. But I just hate losing to Ottawa in Ottawa. It's just the worst feeling. What's going on, Crank Bait? Everybody in here, some familiar faces as well. I thought that it's an interesting. What's going on, Gregory? I hope everyone's having a good night here. Obviously, not great with the Leafs loss. We can get into some of the box score as well. Obviously, Bobby McMahon tonight. Not sure where they have 2 goals on the board from there, but maybe he deserves it with his play as of late. I didn't think tonight. I mean, definitely. That's weird. Why is it Stolars? That is not the right box score there. There we go. So Bobby McMahon with 1 goal. Obviously, Joseph Wall. Don't think it was his fault tonight. The last goal was so fluky. I mean, what's going on, Marshall? The last goal, I mean, we saw a very similar goal to that called back on Steven Lorentz in Washington like a couple months ago. It was the same goal. It's the exact same goal. So, like, I get that he doesn't actually kick the puck, Pinto this is, but there's no consistency in the NHL. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand it. What's going on, Eric? Nice to see you in here as well. Again, all 40 of you in here. This is great. But let me know what you think of the game in the chat right now. I think the Leafs, I think this showed us tonight, it's going to be ridiculous to say they need offensive help. And they need a third-line center right now. Absolutely need a third-line center right now. Robertson is doing a lot of cardio, right? And I am the Nick Robertson defender here on the channel. He is doing a lot of cardio right now and no results. They need to get something going here. And maybe some help on D as well. We've been talking about it. There's some options there. I'm thinking, like that trade with Seattle could be a pretty good option right now. We'll see how the salary shapes up. Obviously, they're in on Cunnin from the San Jose Sharks. I believe that's how it's pronounced. That is something too. That's not a major upgrade. I don't think Cunnin wins you this game, right? So I don't know what they're going to do at this point. I'm not going to get too upset about this loss specifically, but just an odd game. But no Eric, no Collins tonight. It's going to be a shorter one. It's a loss. Nick is he's traveling today, so it's probably going to be a shorter one. But we will be back with Collins once everything settles down this week. The next Leafs game, obviously, we'll get back to it and we'll get you guys back in there. We love talking to you guys. We love the Collins, but not tonight, unfortunately. But we'll get back to it. We'll get back to it once Nick is back and rocking. But Eric, it's a great point. I mean, the Avs trade it's crazy, right? You're not going to re-sign. The Avs are in a great spot. It really shook me yesterday. The Avs are in a great spot. They're going for another Stanley Cup, and the guy says, hey, I want this, I want X amount. They say, we're not going to give it to you. He said, okay, I'm not budging. And they said, all right, we're going to send you to Carolina. I don't see the Leafs doing that with Mitch Marner, but they could really use a roster shakeup. I said at the start of the year, maybe you include Riley in a huge trade package and you really shake up this team, but it's tough. When they play like they do tonight, it looks pretty, but it doesn't work. They can't score. A lot of perimeter play again, right? They're doing the nice touch passes, all this stuff. It looks cool, but I've been saying it all year that, they're not getting barely any traffic to the net. You'll see them get a couple chances like that a period, and that's it. It just dies. It's brutal. It is so brutal. And again, it's the way that they play. They don't need more scorers in the lineup per se in the third and the fourth line. They need the guys that are on the team to play a certain way, and some nights they just don't do it. And tonight was one of those nights. I mean, there's no egregious stats tonight, but you should be scoring more goals. And then, there's guys like Fraser Minton who's played 5 minutes tonight, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. And you have Nylander playing upwards of 20 minutes and these guys, I don't know. A lot of it is weird, but From Gregory, Bobby McMahon looked great on the first line, even spent time on the penalty kill. Yes, he did spend time on the penalty kill. Don't worry, Eric, we will get to Morgan Riley in a minute. But Bobby McMahon looked great again. One of the only players this year that I can say in games where they've lost or they've looked bad has played the entire game, and he looked pretty good. So, looked great again tonight. Credit where credit's due. Marner, great pass to McMahon, but McMahon being where he needs to be. He has a great shot, very underrated. He was skating, hitting, stuff like that. But again, can't rely on a guy like that to score all the goals. I thought he looked good in Matthew Knies' absence, but obviously JT's still out. They're going to need him back. It's going to be interesting. JT should be returning soon, hopefully, unless they're, playing musical chairs again with the week-to-week and day-to-day thing. But Anthony Stolarz should be returning. This is another storyline that we've been talking about, over the course of the last couple of weeks. Should be returning in the next, Darren Dreger said the next 5 to 7 days. So we could see Anthony Stolarz next Saturday or as early as next Saturday. And I think he should get into a game ASAP because the Four Nations is coming up. So let's get him into a game. Hakanpää's supposed to return before the Four Nations. They want him to play in the Four Nations. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on too. Crankbait, I did notice Marner throwing the body tonight. Couple times tonight where he came in hard. I thought it was great. No goals on the board to show it or show for it, right? He's got to do stuff like that. I thought Matthews had a bit of I don't think he was checking well tonight. I have to be honest. He wasn't very noticeable. Marner honestly had a pretty good game in that regard, and that's what I'm looking at him to do most times because he doesn't, and he shies away from that sometimes. So love that, but again, tough. Morgan Riley. How does everyone feel about Morgan Riley? I want to see it. I want to hear it in the chat. How is everyone feeling about Morgan Riley this year? Because I feel like I don't know if it's getting worse, but it hasn't gotten better all year. Like, he's having a tough year, but I want to believe it's a one-off because this is not the player that we know him to be. I want to believe this is a one-off year, that he is struggling this year. I mean, I choose to believe it at this point, that it's a one-off year because I do like Morgan Riley, but he is struggling. There's a couple times tonight, can't get the puck out. He looks sluggish in the offensive zone when he gets the puck. He can't hit the net. He's always looking like for these passes or deflection plays in front instead of just putting the puck to the net. It's just confusing. Like it's like the mental something with his with the mentals this year. That's tough year for Morgan Riley that he's having this year. But again, Bobby McMahon with a great game again. I know Jim. Shout out to Jim who's been in here on the call-ins all the time. That's his guy. So love to see that too. But he's been playing great. So have to give credit where credit's due, Bobby McMahon. And again, I don't know if there's anyone too noticeable tonight other than that. I mean, Max Domi didn't make much of an impact. Noticed him a little bit. OEL's in the mix. Chris Tanev is routinely, I think, your best defenseman, doing all the things that nobody gives him credit for. I thought Jake McCabe poised with the puck again. Like, a lot of these things are fine. Joseph Woll made the saves when he had to. Made some big saves. Last goal is a complete fluke. Should have been called back. Hard to say. That's a tough situation to be put in there, but that's it. Eric says, hold on, I'll get to that in a second, Eric, but Mo seems to be regressing. We can't have passengers on this team. We need better from him. Absolutely. He's not playing well. He's not offering anything positive right now. He's not offering anything positive at this moment. He looks sluggish. He's turning the puck over in the defensive zone. It's not great right now. It's not great. And then, obviously, Robertson. We can talk about Robertson. How are we all feeling about Robertson? Let's throw it in the chat as well. Again, Leafs lose 2-1 to the Ottawa Senators tonight. Shout out to the 53 of you who are in here. I know it's a loss. It's a Saturday night. Hopefully they pick up a win during the week, and Nick will be back on the streams here. It should be pretty electric this week. It's going to be a fun week. But what do we think about Nick Robertson as well? Let's throw that in the chat. I want to see, the Riley, the Robertson stuff. I've been a big defender of Robertson. I'll get to some comments in a second, but I've been a big defender of Robertson all year. I think that the skill is still there, but I think the skill is definitely still there. Is it going to be used on the Leafs? I don't know anymore. I think that he's going to be used in a trade to go out and get like a third line center, whatever they need, another defenseman, whatever it is. I think that he's going to be used in the trade. He's going to be moved out, and you know what? He's going to score 30 to 35 goals somewhere else, and that's what it is. He just doesn't have a spot on this team for the type of player that he is, and I think the Leafs can go get something useful that they could actually use, like a third line center or a guy to play on the third line, like a Brandon Tanev, let's say, in return for Nick Robertson. But I'm telling you, he is going to go on and score 30 goals in this league somewhere else. It's going to happen. He has too much skill, and it's just not happening for him. I don't know. He needs to play higher in the lineup, but it just won't work out in this team. He doesn't offer. He can't play with Matthews and Marner. Like, that's not a good mix on that top line. I don't like that. You need like a McMahon or a Nyes with them. Someone, a guy who can go get the puck for them. But it's interesting. But we'll see. Riley's money could be better spent from Gregory. $7.5 million. You could spread that out somewhere else. We're seeing now what $4 million gets you. Obviously, the contract with Chris Tanev is a little bit different, but you're like $4 million, and he's your best defenseman by far, right? By far, Chris Tanev is your best defenseman. So it could be spent elsewhere. Obviously, 4 guys making $50 million or more, that's not ideal either, but that's going to change next year too. Mitch Marner's probably going to get a raise if he re-signs. That's something we got to keep tabs on. Rantanen getting moved is crazy. That could really shake things up for Marner. We'll see how that looks. But again, I think Robertson leads the league with offsides. Perhaps. Not a great play there at the end. Riley got a contract and disappeared. It does look like that at times, honestly. How often does Robertson fall? He's so light on his feet. That's the other thing, too. Like, he's not... You can tell he's trying really hard. He's trying to throw the body. He's trying to play more of a Craig Berube style, north-south, stuff like that. He's getting his shots. He's doing the turns, all this stuff. It's not translating to goals. And he's getting knocked over, and he's getting... I wouldn't say outworked, but, like other guys are more physical than him. So it's tough for him to play that role on the team when that's not the type of player that he is. You can trade him, go get some. I don't see Nick Robertson. He signed to a 1-year deal this year. I don't see him on the team after this year. So let's trade him, get something that we can use. It's just the dynamic of the team. But again, I think that it's going to be tough because he's going to go score 30 goals somewhere else, I think. But that's unfortunate. But next game, call up Nylander. Why are we calling up Quillen? I think Quillen plays... It's a different role. Alex Nylander gives you more scoring, but not at the NHL level and not in that role. He has to play higher up in the lineup. So I get it. I get it because he is scoring. He does look good. Alex Steeves could be given a shot too, right? Like maybe Quillen, they just want to get him in there to get a taste of the NHL action. I can understand that, but Alex Steeves, we haven't seen much of him this year. So, and again, Quillen, 5 minutes time on ice, just over 5 minutes. They're barely using the fourth line. There's games where they make a difference, and then there's games where they just barely use them. They're not effective whatsoever. And then all these other guys are playing way too many minutes. They're passing around the perimeter. It's just not a recipe for success here. But trade Holmberg and Robertson. Holmberg and Robertson from Eric. I don't think anyone's taking that Reeves contract. I got to be honest. Holmberg and Robertson I could see on the way out. I think they're both useful pieces for other teams, 100%. But we'll see what's coming back in. I think something crazy. What's up, Shane? Everybody, Shane's here. What's up, Jose? Just noticed you in the chat as well. Robo's too inconsistent. That's the thing. Every time he gets scratched, he'll come back and score 3 goals. And then you won't hear from him for a week and a half. And then he gets scratched again. And shout out Shane with the 5 gifted members. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. If you were gifted a membership from Shane, say thank you very much, Shane. And thank you, Shane, again, from myself and Nick. The support has been unbelievable all season long. And I really appreciate everybody who's been donating memberships or gifting memberships, I should say, to other people. So, we're spreading the wealth here on the channel. I love to see that. So thank you, Shane. As soon as he joins the chat, drop in the 5 gifted subs and memberships for everyone else. Love to see that. Thank you, Shane. Your support's been great this year. But Holmberg, too. A lot of people are calling for Holmberg to go. Again, I'm not super overly disappointed in this loss. It should be okay. I think it'll be fine, right? But they'll probably bounce back. But again, like, not ideal. But we'll check. They have some interesting opponents coming up here, and I want to get into that now. You got the Wild on Wednesday. We're going to be streaming after that game as well. We'll have call-ins for that one. Nick will be back, so we'll be doing that. Wild are a great team. It's going to be a hard game. Saturday night, you play the Edmonton Oilers. You got a little bit of a break here. Maybe some guys can get healthy. Maybe we see the return of Tavares. I think Stolarz is going to play that game on Saturday against the Oilers. And like I mentioned, Tavares, maybe we see him. Matthew Nyes, maybe he's back in the lineup. Nyes could be back in the lineup as soon as Wednesday. Then you go on a little bit of a road trip. You're playing the Flames in Calgary. The Kraken and the Canucks are doing that Western Canadian road trip starting next week. So that should be interesting as well. But, yeah, crazy. But Should be crazy. Should be fun. We'll have call-ins for that one as well. And Riley isn't the only one disappearing this year. Totally agree. There's a lot of guys that need to be upping their game, and they're not. And when they disappear, when some of these guys disappear, the Leafs do not have much. I will say that. And lots of passing around the perimeter. Not much happening, especially tonight. So thank you, Shane, for showing Eric how to do that. Thank you. Appreciate that. But love the community here. Everybody helping out. But a 2-1 loss in January isn't the end of the world. Totally agree, Crankbait. I mean, there's things you can pull from this loss where you're like, I'm super disappointed by this. Like, again, their game tonight looked pretty. I don't like that. It was Jose with the $5. Thank you, Jose. It was a loss, but a win for Leafs Digest. I wouldn't say it was a win for us. I like it when the Leafs win. I am in a much better mood when the Leafs win. But thank you, Jose. Nonetheless, your support's been unbelievable. And it was great to talk to you. I believe it was last week after the Montreal Canadiens game for the first time. So we'll definitely have you in on some more call-ins as we go along here in the season. And playoffs are going to be electric as well. We're gonna have some long streams. We're going to have some fun stuff planned for you guys. We're also going to have some fun stuff planned for you guys during the Four Nations face-off because Leafs are not going to play, so we won't have post-game streams. But during the 2-week break, we'll have some fun stuff. We'll do some live streams, some member stuff. It's all coming. It's all on the way. So stay tuned for that. Should be fun. But again, 2-1 loss, like I was saying from Crankbait's comment, 2-1 loss in January isn't the end of the world. It isn't, but there's things you pull from this game where you're like, I like this. Bobby McMahon's game, I like it. Certain things like that. Chris Tanev continues to do his thing. Jake McCabe, you compare him with whoever, and he looks good, right? But it's the passing around the perimeter thing. Their game looks way too pretty for me, right? Like these, one-touch passes and, oh, wow, look, yeah, that was a great play. It doesn't convert to anything. They're swinging around the net with the puck, and then they pass it back to the defense. Play dies, right? It's these things. Like, get the puck to the net. Let's create some scoring. You're making life way too easy for the opposing goalies and opposing teams. Ottawa, I mean, I don't know if they played well tonight, right? Like, they kind of squeaked away with that win. It was an unlucky goal, but it was lucky. It was lucky. It's not like they, completely outmatched the Leafs. The Leafs could have won this game, but super unfortunate in that way. But again, unfortunate. But we will get into our 3 stars tonight. It's a tough one tonight. I don't know what we're going to do. I might have to give Joseph Wool a star tonight, but let me know your 3 stars. I'll get to this actually, Jose. I'll prep this first. Let me know in the comments, in the chat, your 3 stars of the night. I know it's a loss, disappointing one. Tough to choose a couple stars, but we don't have the impact score chart yet either. I've been kind of refreshing here. I don't believe it's out yet. I would like to bring it up if it was out, but it is. I will get to it in 1 second. But again, let me know in the chat your 3 stars of the night. I'll get to this. I'll bring it up on screen here in just a second. The impact score chart is out. I'll bring it up here. Bang. And we'll get to this here. A little bit bigger for you guys to see. Hopefully, let me know if that looks awkward on the chat or if you can't see it. But again, not too much negative impact, which is crazy. OEL had a spectacular game, according to the impact score chart. That is crazy. Obviously, Bobby McMahon with a great game. Jake McCabe, Mitch Marner, I thought had a great game. Not too much on the negative impact side of things either. Austin Matthews kind of in the middle there. I think that's pretty interesting. But again, the usual suspects, just the eye test telling you it was Bobby McMahon, it was Jake McCabe, Mitch Marner had a good game. Morgan Riley near the top as well. But his team offense, not much showing there. So a lot of negative impact there on the team offense. But pretty interesting stuff. Let me know in the comments who you thought. Domi is an interesting pick. Definitely an interesting pick. My 3 stars. I'll do it. I know Nick's not here, but I'll do it. I'll get the glasses out for this. But my 3 stars tonight, I'm going to give Joseph Wool my 3rd star of the night. I'm going to give Jake McCabe my 2nd star of the night, and I'm going to give Bobby McMahon my 1st star of the night. No explanations there. It was a tough loss. Kind of a low event game as well. But, yeah, I mean, OEL had a crazy game. That is one of the craziest impact charts I've seen from a Leaf this season. That is insane. Wow. And I didn't even, really notice him on the ice, I guess. Like I did at times in, he was playing well. But that is a crazy difference from everyone else. But we're going to wrap it up here soon. Any final thoughts in the chat? Tough loss on a Saturday night to the Ottawa Senators. You always like to win these games against the Sens, especially in there, because there's a majority of Leaf fans. You only score 1 goal for them. Usually gets pretty loud in there. It's a good time. But any final thoughts? Love some of the picks here for 3 stars. McMahon, Marner, Wool. That's from Crankbait. McMahon, Domi, Wool. I thought that one was interesting too. Tanev. Lots of love for Tanev from Jose. Tanev, Wool, McMahon. Gregory with Tanev, Wool, McMahon, Marner. So the common theme there with Wool and McMahon. Again, Wool only had, he didn't make that many saves on the night, but I thought he made some quality saves. There was a couple high danger scoring chances, a lot of chances where, they could have scored, where he did make those saves. So not a lot of volume tonight, but he made some pretty big saves. Love to see that too. So definitely. OEL was underrated tonight. Totally agree. Did you hear about the Toronto Blue Jays? Lots going on with the Toronto Blue Jays. If you're interested with that, go check out Nick on Jays Digest. Lots going on Jays Digest right now. That is for sure. There is a ton of stuff coming out, a ton of news, and they're making some pretty big signings. They're actually doing some stuff this offseason. So good for them. They're not missing out like last year. That was a tough one last year. And go check out Nick on Jays Digest. He does Jays Digest as well. But the late games, I want to throw this out there too for Jose, a couple of the regulars here, just to name a few, like Paul, Crankbait, guys like that. I know Jim's not in here. Shane, I think you're still in here. I'm gonna throw this out there, just an idea. We're gonna talk about this on stream on Wednesday as well, and streams leading into it. When the Leafs go on the road and they have the late starts, they're going to play a couple 9 p.m. games. They're going to play a couple 10 p.m. games, which means these games are going to end around midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern. And I would assume most of you are in the Eastern time zone, maybe a time zone behind, something like that. Obviously, I know Leaf fans are all around. Would you prefer us to still go live after the game at 12 or 1 o'clock, or would you prefer us to do a pregame show on those days that the games start 9 or 10 o'clock? And kind of, do a pregame show. We can interact with you guys, and then we'll lead you guys right into the game. We'll say our goodbyes, and we'll enjoy the game. It's something we're considering. So let me know in the chat right now if you would be. Yeah, no problem, Shane. Let me know in the chat if you'd be interested in that. Again, we're going to talk about it on stream together, Nick and I. Our next stream against the Minnesota Wild on Wednesday, and obviously Saturday they play the Edmonton Oilers. So just let us know if you would prefer a pregame show or an after. Obviously, a post-game show, not an after-game show. We will do that. So Shane's fine either way. Eric as well. Just something we're throwing out there, something we could play around with, because we know a lot of people, have early mornings. So recap of the game would be nice for me. Perfect. So we'll probably do post-game still then. I think that would be fun. Shane, are you winning? Let's do after-game then. Hey, we just want to throw it out to you guys because we know a lot of people have early mornings, right? So we want to tailor the content to the community. We want to make sure everybody can check it out and stuff. So we'll definitely do that. It's going to be a late night for Nick on those ones, but we'll get it done. He loves streaming as well, so we'll definitely get it done. I'm in Sasso. Honestly, whatever works for you guys, perfect. Yeah. So both. We'll probably do post game streams then. It would be better to break down the game like post game, and it would be fun. Might be a little bit late, but on the East Coast at least, but it'll be fun. So we'll probably do the post games. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on this game? We're gonna wrap it up here in just a minute. We're at 17 likes. If you haven't yet hit that like button, our new goal is 20 likes for this stream. Try and get us to 20 likes. Thank you everyone who donated. Shane, obviously Jose as well. You guys' support has been unbelievable all year. We truly appreciate it. Love talking to you guys as well. So I want to see you guys with some more call-ins. Next stream, couple streams, whatever you want to do, should be fun. But any final thoughts? Tough loss for the Leafs here, bit unlucky as well. Let's just chalk it up to unlucky. It's not a loss like against the Vancouver Canucks where I was upset. I was like, you got to win that game. So tough one, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting as we go along here. With the Leafs, is Marner going into free agency? Will he sign $14 million times 8? I think it's... Listen, Colorado said to Rantanen, you're not making more than our best player, Nathan McKinnon. And Rantanen said, yes, I do. I'm not budging. And they said, all right, bye. And they traded him. So I wonder if the Leafs got to have the same conversation with Mitch Marner. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you, Shane. The Leafs going to win the next 6. they'll never lose again, just like Shorzy. They will never lose again this regular season. They're going to go all the way to the Cup. Wouldn't that be something? But the Leafs are going to win the next 6. That'd be great. Love the community here. Keep up the good work, everybody. Thank you, Shane. And it's on you guys, too. You guys calling in. You guys offer some great insight. Yes, Jose, Portuguese. That's right. The pride right there. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Like I was saying, it's not just, you know, us, Nick and I, putting on the show. You guys are as much a part of the show as we are. You guys give great insight. Love the call-ins. So thank you all for that. But we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody who donated. Once again, Jose, Shane, thank you, everybody, for the comments, tuning in. We'll be back Wednesday with the stream against the Minnesota Wild, and Nick will return. You'll see Nick in a video tomorrow. We're going to have a couple interesting videos coming up because things are getting pretty crazy here as the trade deadline comes closer and closer, and the Four Nations face-off. Hawk and Paw might return to the Leafs lineup in the next couple games. It's going to be interesting to see, but thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you again on Wednesday. Good night, everyone.
Digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends are told. From first pop drop to the season's full. Tune in and watch the drama